A damaged starship. Medical bay. Time. Unknown. Dim emergency lighting pulsed throughout the space. Smoke was still in the air. Distant alarms that still rang in the ship, unable to be turned off, were not even heard anymore. The large ship was dying. So was the captain. Massive silver-muzzled dark lies on a platform. Chest torn open, blue-green blood soaking the table. The Dr. Hathor works quickly, her paws steady despite the chaos. Rom stands beside her. He had been the youngest first engineer ever in the fleet. Now, the youngest chief engineer ever. He was terrified, but he had to keep himself composed, considering his orders. The Dr. Hathor looks at Rom grimly and whispers, "The wound is mortal." The captain's eyes open. He searches for Rom. Weakly, he says, "The shuttle?" Rom looks at the floor, then gone. The captain's eyes close briefly. He exhales pain and resignation. Says, "Then we do what we must." Hathor presses against the wound. It slows nothing. Hathor looks at Rom. "He does not have long." The captain gestures weakly. Rom leans closer. They will scatter. They will hide. They will survive. Opening his paw, a small crystal rests in it. "Take it." Rom does as the captain's breath falters. "You will know if they come. Protect it. Protect them. Our past does not write our future." Rom bows his head as the captain's hand falls. A figure in the corner of the med bay quietly slips out the door. The Last Engineer. Episode 1. Arrival. Coffee shop at Pike Street Market. Morning. Present day. Rain was falling outside. Steady. Cold for April. In a coffee shop at the Pike Place Market, a well-dressed man glances out the window, then returns to his newspaper. Eric Scott sits alone. The younger crowd there didn't pay attention to the old man with black hair with white temples. He liked it that way. It always begins quietly. No thunder, no prophecy, just a shift in the air. The tingle started in the back of his head, then a vibration. He glances at his phone on the table. Still, another vibration. He freezes. A chill runs up his spine. Hand moves slowly to his chest. Under his shirt, the necklace pulses faintly. Weeks, not months, weeks. He folds the paper neatly, finishes his coffee. He stands, leaving for 4th Avenue. Rose Building, 4th. Eric enters the Rose Building on 4th Avenue after walking from the Pike Place Market. Continuing into the lobby, he saw Roger at the front desk and nodded to him. Roger nodded back as he watched a new member of security. Eric swipes a card. The doors open immediately. Only select floors are available. L, 40 to 45, and the 5 parking levels. He presses 44. Eric exits the elevator and walks toward his office. Entering, he passes Lily's desk without breaking stride. "Good morning. I'd like the council in the conference room in 30 minutes, please." He does not wait for acknowledgement. He goes to his office door, enters, and softly closes it behind him. Lily watches the door for a moment longer than usual. Duncan leans back from the wall near her desk. "He do that often?" Duncan asked as the hair on the back of his neck started to stand up. Lily glanced at him. "No." Lily picks up her cell phone. A single message sent to several. Hawk. Mid-briefing at orientation. Phone vibrates. He doesn't look at it, but looks at Mac instead. He does not break rhythm so the new people don't notice. Mac glances at his screen. Straightens. He looks at Hawk and holds up 3 fingers and begins to dial as he moves around the corner. Raven and Elliot were in a conference. A look exchanged. Elliot calls the motor pool and gets 2 limos ordered. Executives dismissed for an early lunch. Akio. On the rooftop. He stares out over the skyline. Something unsettled him. He was doing Bushido breathing exercises when his phone began to vibrate. Lauren pauses mid-step in the medical clinic, looking at her phone. She looks across the room and sees Doc looking at his. His head picks up and their eyes meet, his questioning until he sees the fear in hers. Anna sat at the kitchen table with her coffee. She felt strange this morning and didn't know why. Hearing a buzz, she reaches to the table. Looking at her phone, she stands to wake up Brandon. They have felt it too. Not the signal, the change. Eric's office. Rain streaks the glass wall. Eric stands alone in his office, looking out over the city he has called home for the last 150 years. He had just hung up after talking to a friend at an observatory in Australia. He removes the necklace he has worn all these millennia. Opening the amulet, the crystal inside glows faint green. Lily knocks lightly, enters. They've been informed. I've ordered lunch for 12:30 delivery. Eric glanced over his shoulder. That will be good, thank you. We know how grouchy Mac is when he doesn't eat. She smiles at his humor, comforted by the gesture. Then she notices the glow but says nothing. She leaves, closing the door. Eric turns to a large portrait. The office system activates. Confirmed from 3 other sources. Are they coming? Eric answers, yes, 10,000 years. And still, I hoped this day would never come. He touches the frame. So, it begins. I hope the world survives, and God forgives us the destruction it will cause. He looks at the gold necklace, where the now glowing crystal sits inside an amulet with Egyptian markings on it, then closes it, the crystal inside. Conference room. The council seated themselves around the table when Diana and Brandon came in. Eric stands at the head in silence for a moment. After looking across the others at the table, he begins. What we have reluctantly waited for has happened. They have arrived. After a long breath. 5 ships, holding beyond Saturn, cautious. He meets their eyes one by one. We have approximately 1 month before they conclude Earth is incapable of resistance. You are not obligated to stand with me. I know what this means. Hawk speaks. I'm not pulling out. This is my home. You have told me this was possible ever since I was 12. Mac nods once. I'm a half. I stay. Raven does not hesitate and nods nervously. Eric studies them. I'm with you, Duncan said. Akio and Bobby nod together. Akio gave a small bow, then in Japanese said he was staying. Bobby looked up at Eric. This is my home now. Diana looked at Brandon, then Eric. I stay. Elliot, I'm going to stay. Roger nods. Doc said, battles need doctors. Brandon looked at Diana. When I was made, I ceased being human. I stay with my patron. Rose Building. Executive elevator. Night. Eric stands alone. He enters the elevator when the doors opened. Doors close. He removes a key from his pocket, inserting it into the maintenance lock and turns it to the stop, then presses it in another 1/4 inch and turns it to an unmarked stop. The numbers descended. The hum of the elevator cables. As it reaches PO5, it keeps going for another few breaths. Below sublevel 5. He looked out when the doors opened. A single bulb lit the space. It was enough. Concrete. Still. Damp with water dripping from the walls. He steps out. Walks alone past wooden crates, large and small. Older stone embedded within reinforced structure. Ancient geometry hidden under modern construction. He removes the necklace. The crystal glows brighter. To himself he said, "You prayed they had changed. You gave them a chance." A low hum begins. Slow. Building. Now we see who they have become. The hum grows stronger. It turns into a resonance, almost musical. Eric closes his eyes. Listens. The stone answered. The Last Engineer. Episode 1. Arrival.